Hi, welcome to Awake TV. So today's one, I gonna talk about the rolling with changes. So a lot of stuff is happening energetically and also, politically or whatever in our regular life. There's change too. So when change is happening, trusting our intuition is the most important thing because, even us who are having spiritual gift, um, a lot of times we are not able to see our own timelines, even though we can see others, right?
Yeah.
So how can we having trust toward this change and certainty? And the thing is to hold on to our instinct is most important. So today that's what we want to talk about and how we can utilize this in our lives. So a few days ago, I have noticed there are energetic shift. Thursday night, Friday kind of thing was going on. And then by Friday morning time, I also felt energetically my body is much lighter. Like tons of like heavy stuff has lifted or something like that. So Lori Ladd was also talking about stuff like that. And then I happened to had Ashta channeling recording yesterday, and then Ashta was saying the ending of something, ending the situation, ending of the relationship, ending of situation, whatever, right? I leaving a company to new, whatever, or moving. That kind of stuff is happening because the division between people who decided to stay in 3D consciousness and 5D consciousness is spreading much more clearly now. Um, I also want to add like ascension door will close in 26,000 years. That's bullshit, okay? Ascension door not gonna close because it has started 2012. So some of us will be the first wave of the ascension. So we will shift to 5D consciousness faster than, let's say, the people who decided to stay in 3D consciousness level much longer than we are doing, but they'll eventually shift at
Yeah.
their own time. So how do you navigate this change with holding trust into your intuition? So
Um, well, as I've said a couple times, we're making a big move from New York State to Florida. And so this is I think on the list of 5 things that really challenges a marriage. Um, one of them is a death in the family, another one is loss of a child, another one is getting married, moving, and then I forget what the fifth one is, but maybe losing a job or something like that, I think is the fifth one. So we're doing one of those big changes that affects, a marriage and the family. And um, I'm not going to lie and say it hasn't had its stresses. We've had to really work hard to get our house just the way we want it to present to the next family, person that's going to live here. I've been putting a lot of energy into that
mhm.
to make it. I mean, I think there's been a lot of love here, and so I feel like we're giving the next people a really quality home, but I just want it to look right. I have this very A-type personality. Things have to be just so I've been making that happen. I've been putting a lot of effort into it. I'm tired. Um, and then we start talking about, we met with our realtor yesterday, um, days, how much time this takes, what processes, and I'm already aware of these things because I sold my dad's house. I was instrumental in that. And so I know all of this, but I started getting anxiety when we started talking about, okay, how are we going to coordinate the sale of this with the purchase of the next one? And my brain kicked in and I started imagining like maybe possibly conflicts between the times that this would take in order to, and then what time is this going to happen? And I got tied up in my brain about timing. So what I do for myself whenever I find myself feeling anxiety because my brain takes me down this road that I couldn't possibly see. Um, I stop that and I say to myself, okay, your soul, me, I have a plan. I have a plan. I have all these guides and spiritual help, and I have a higher self that's always guiding me. So you said intuition. That's what intuition is, in my opinion. It's allowing my higher self to let me know, okay, do this now, or look into this now. Don't worry about that right now. It's going to happen. I mean, I totally believe that the next house that we are going to be in has already been decided. It's there waiting for us. We just haven't seen it yet. And so when I shift from my mental analytical self to the core of who I am, which is my soul essence, my light, um, and I say, okay, I know my higher self has a plan. I have a life plan in place, and this is the time for us to move. I have to trust that when have a gut feeling about something where all of a sudden I'm motivated to pay attention to something, that that's the right timing for it. And if I'm not motivated to pay attention to it, if I'm not seeing clearly what my next move is, then it's not time for it yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the financial part is it's out there in the ether somewhere. We've already been pre-approved for our next loan, all this stuff. Everything's great. Why am I worrying about it?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. I don't need to. I'm adding bricks onto my shoulders that I don't need. I have other things that I need to put that energy into. And so, in order to not exhaust myself, I just ask that analytical part of me. I have a beautiful mind. I appreciate my mind. It served me well all my life. I need to just trust now that it will again when it needs to engage. But right now, my mind doesn't need to engage. I don't have to know how it's going to work out. I just know that it will.
Yeah, makes sense.
And also, not only am I moving, but my one son is moving back to Long Island, and my other son he's coming with us to Florida, but he's undecided what his next moves are. You know, as a parent, or as somebody that loves anybody else, when they're in flux, it's kind of natural to to worry a little bit, or at least that's our habit all our lives. They have a higher self as well. They have intuition, they have guidance. So if your worry is about, or your anxiety, any discomfort that you may be feeling is people around you are changing, then I say visualize their highest potentials and just keep seeing them meeting those highest potentials, because that's what their higher selves are doing for them. They're guiding them towards their next step where they're supposed to be. And so obviously we don't know maybe what that's going to look like, but we just have to know if they're being guided to go into some other area of their life or some major change, they have a team in place too. And our job for those folks is just to love and support. We can't figure it out for them. We can't map it out for them. That's their journey.
Yeah.
So, I'm just not looking at all these big changes that are happening to me. I'm looking at and friends. um, I'm noticing lots of people are in flux right now. Lots of people are shifting and getting ideas about what they want to do with their life next. It's like we're all starting new chapters, and we're the authors of the story. That's true. And we don't always know what the end result's going to be. I think if we feel guided and um, our intuition comes in and it's pushing us to make a change, then the next step is just say, okay, what do I want? What am I interested in? And if you at least have a notion of something, or if you don't, you can say, okay, guidance team, thank you for being with me. research, send me some inspiration, give me ideas. What would be a good path for me? What would be beneficial to my journey? And trust that they will send you inspiration. You may hear somebody else talking about something and you go, "Ooh, that's interesting. I haven't thought about that. That's kind of cool. I'm going to look into that." For example, you hear somebody having a conversation and it lights up something in you. That's a message. That's your guidance team communicating and saying, "Huh, here's a thought. What do you think about this?" You're always in the driver's seat in the sense that you get to make final decision whether you're going to go this way or this way or this way or this way. But opening up to our team and asking them to send us some ideas it's solid policy, right? Because they're just waiting for us to ask. And I
Yes.
noticed you've been feeling like slowing down a little bit. What's going on there for you?
Well, I kind of learning, we learn, with the spiritual knowledge to tell them, well, tell ourselves, let the past go, let past go. So I've been working on my mentor's webinar thing. She's marinating the past with present. So there is no, what you gonna call it? The energy who is pushing away or forceful energy, try to push away your past instead of letting go, which is friction. Like you can merge your past into the present.
Merge it.
So I was doing that my third time live webinar. Now I was doing that yesterday. And then it felt good, changing the field, reconfiguring the field, stuff like that. And then, it feels good. Um, the After you kind of reconfiguring your field, the quantum field, you kind of started to see or have a new perspective. What, let's say, the past experiences you had and stuff like that, you kind of started to see with new way of looking at things. And then also emotion gonna start arise, right? I mean, you can logically say whatever, and then maybe all this hidden emotion gonna come up, and then you have to feel through it or deal with it, right? And then I was doing that. Like I had a lot of anger that also I had a little bit of not a little bit. I had a quite good amount of frustrations. Why do I have to deal with everything on my own? And I don't have anyone to lean my back onto, right? And then I kind of realized, no, I do have my team. You don't see them, but I can rely on tell them what I want. If I need help, you know, I can ask them to be my team for real, even like 3D matters stuff, to delegate what I want and ask them to help me. So I started doing that instead of like, okay, I have to do everything by myself. Like, yeah, like maybe spiritual team or angels or maybe like star families or higher self may or may not help me. I still have to do it by myself. Like that kind of frustration or part of stress kind of like disappeared. So I mean, right now my DA is in quarantine, so so I have more work I need to be doing. That
You're
kind of gave me a lot of stress, but I kind of decided to don't even put stress on myself if I don't feel like I have enough capacity to do that. It's not gonna change my professional life drastically or anything.
Yeah,
I
just to clarify really quick, your VA is your virtual assistant who puts together your videos and does the production part. Um, and so that takes a lot off your shoulders work wise. And she's in quarantine. And so that's what you're talking about. I just wanted to be clear so everybody knew what you meant when you said VA.
Yeah,
Um,
she takes care of my business side of the logistics,
yeah.
you know.
So that's a big job, and she's in quarantine, and so you felt that, oh gosh, here we go. Now I got to do all of this. And then what did you do about that? Because I think what you told me earlier is really important for other people to hear.
Yeah, I kind of like I realized how much I have been doing on my own, you know. So I kind of honestly got sick of doing everything on my own, to put everything on my shoulder. Even like when I was married, I have to be the leader instead of my ex-husband was being the leader. And I had to do everything on my own. So I really honestly got sick of it. So I decided to not to do anything because it kind of giving me a lot of pressure on myself, and then you get drained, physically drained, energetically drained, psychologically drained, and then you still whip yourself up to say you gotta do this because if you don't do it nobody else gonna do it. But now I kind of realize I'm gonna tell my angels and others to do it for me.
But you're not really doing nothing. Just to be clear, as we talked, what you're doing is when you're inspired to do it. So it's not this schedule that you had it on before, and you're relaxing those um, pressures that you perceived as, okay, it's all this, it's too much, I can't do it. And you said, okay, now I'm going to do it when I'm called to do it, when I feel the intuition, when something, because then you can get excited about it. Then before you know it, you have the energy to do it, right?
Yeah. And then I kind of like, I used to be super left minded oriented person. I needed proof, I needed the data. I mean, to, believe it or not, people, I was like that, you know. So by having completely different attitude toward how to run the business or run my life, I'm still putting myself as an experiment. How much do I get stuff by seemingly not doing anything? You know, versus on schedule.
Yeah. And clients have been coming in for you anyway, right?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
have to, put myself in this experiment to see if, I don't have any physical helpers, non-physical helpers to do my job for me, and let's see what's going to happen. That's what I'm doing right now because part of me is still looking for the proof, because part of me justifying whatever, like let's say if you have a difficult time letting go of the past, or a difficult time trusting something completely new reality is coming, and then my part of the brain is saying, okay, this stuff kept on happening over and over and over, how come next time, new beginning or whatever, how come you're gonna have 100% for sure really new gonna happen, like all this mind is start talking.
Yeah.
So, so that in order to break through this level, it's very important actually for me to actually do it
Do
and
it.
see if that is true or not.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can hear all this spiritual insight from others or myself, you know, but your mind is not gonna start shutting up just because you said so, you know.
It's, you know what? And I think you bring up a good point. We have to consciously be aware when our mind goes off into that habitual dialogue. We're always dialoguing in our minds. You and I are analytical types. That's just all there is to it. However, we are so much more. And being able to be consciously aware when our mind does that thing it does and stop and say, okay, this isn't serving me right now because I'm feeling even more stressed than I was. It's not solving anything. So let's try another approach. And once you did take the time off, and you are right now taking slowing up your schedule, and you're realizing that your clients are still coming in when at a pace that's comfortable for you, because I'm going to talk about that for myself. So I wanted to bring this up because it's happening to both of us. Um, then you go, oh, I have exactly what I need. And I didn't have to work so hard for it. As a matter of fact, I was hardly working at all, and I still have exactly what I need. That's what we're talking about when we say the trust part. So my example is similar, but it's been longer term. This whole last year, since March last year, 2020, we've had major upheaval in our home with my family members. And I won't get into the story of it, but it's been one of the most challenging times of my life, where I really had to not only be here for my family members, but I also had to be here for myself. And so I had quite a few clients right around that time when it was happening. And then I just said, you know what? I can't do this. I cannot work in my own backyard and attend to everybody else's gardens. It's not fair for me to keep taking clients, because if I can't give them my all, I don't want to give the session. Okay. Finance wasn't a problem. I just needed to say, hey, team, I need a break. I need people to find other resources, because right now I need to focus on me. And so a couple more people came in, over the year, that I felt were really uniquely placed with me because of the skill set that I have. And so the sessions worked out really great. But I haven't been advertising, I haven't been promoting, I haven't been any of that stuff. It's just like the universe got the point that I needed a break, and the flow just stopped. I did that because I said I need a break. And so I got the break that I needed, and I was consequentially able to um, get myself right, my mind, my emotions, my perception of what my job was in relation to these family members, letting go. I needed to learn to not be mom anymore. I needed to learn to be supportive family member, love ally, soft place to land, but not decision maker and, outcome decider. That was big for me. I've never been that all my life. I've always been the one who's like sort of ringleader running the show. This is the time in my life where my lesson came, which says, not no. You're not in charge, and you need to let it go, and you need to just play that supportive role. So in any event, I took a lot of time off. I love quantum healing. It is one of my most favorite reasons for being on the planet. It's my thing. Um, However, if I can't give that service 100%, now I'm fine. Like if somebody called me next week and said, or emailed me and is interested in a session, I could probably work that in. Back then, it was like I didn't want any of it, and it just all shut down. And it wasn't because I did anything differently, really, other than I wasn't doing promotions and such. But I believe that was my team listening to me, or me listening to my team. uh, I don't know which way it was, but somebody listened, and it worked out. So much needed rest and much needed introspection for me. And I think when the body says no, or we're really, really tired, we really, really need a break, boy, if we don't listen to those messages, that's when, we start finding illness in the body and, breakdown in other areas of our life. So rolling with the changes, right? If I'm not doing the same thing I was doing 2 years ago this year, it's changes, right?
Yeah.
Nothing ever stays stagnant and the same. I mean, life would be very boring, in my opinion, if
Mhm.
everything stayed the same all the time. We're growing. And like you said, when you can look back on, as you're trying to merge your past with your changing self now, which is, you know, your 5D self, if you can allow the two to be the same person and say, it's okay, I just didn't know what I know now, but I embrace and love myself even, you know, back then when I did this, that, or the other thing that I don't particularly love now, but maybe I do love it because it got me here.
Yeah. So when we are experiencing new beginning or new change, in order to bring that change physically into, you know, manifestation, we need a lot of energies to make it happen. So before that happens, we do need to rest physically, because we have to store that amount of huge energies, so real manifestation, you know, bringing into the reality, like a new life will happen physically. So this is another reason, you know, sometimes when there is a break between old life and the new life, and then you need to period of rest or you don't feel like doing anything anymore, happens because ourselves, our intelligent part of selves, innately understand that we have to store our energy. We can create the new from old tired self, you know, just finished our finishing line and learned all lessons and exhausted. And then, okay, let's create anything new. It doesn't happen that way. We have
Yeah.
to store, rest, relax, and then all this everything gonna happen. So when you are those part of resting period or something, or seems like nothing is happening right now, do not worry, just enjoy your relaxing time and let your spiritual team or higher self to take care of your matters. It will run smoothly without you even delegating on your own.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
So, do you have any last tips on your our viewers before we go?
Nothing's coming to mind right now. Just trust. You know, ask your team if you need guidance in a direction, but like Erica said, if you need to rest, rest. And we don't have to be in motion all the time. A
Yeah,
lot of times when we think we're doing nothing, we're actually doing quite a lot energetically.
yeah. So, part of the shift between from 3D to 5D is doing a lot less. Okay, it's seeming like doesn't make any sense, but that's how it is, because in 3D there are a lot of resistance, a lot of other forces are involved, so we have to do extra, you know, we have to use extra strength or extra willpower to make things happen. But 5D, none of us, you know, required to make anything happen. So when we're shifting to that new beginning, which most of us are, or definitely people who are watching this are shifting toward, are happening. So taking it easy, relaxing, and tell your team to do what to do instead of you doing everything on your own is a key. And the more you relax, your spiritual team, your higher self can take over the heavy lifting and do it for you. So yeah, like Sue said, trust.
Oh, I got an example of that. It just popped in as you were talking. Um, we were trying to formulate in our minds, my husband and I, you know, like what moving company we would use and whatnot. And I just didn't have the energy to start doing my usual research that I do. Um, I'll put hours and hours into a simple purchase, you know, researching. There's that analytical brain again. So yesterday I was playing a puzzle game while I was watching a show, you know, in our downtime. And what pops up on my phone was an ad for a moving company. And I laughed right out loud because and these are long distance movers too. They're not even just local movers. And then about a half an hour later, another one, a different company popped up. And it was like my team just said, okay, you might want to start thinking about this now. And here's a couple of ideas. And my husband got a kick out of it too. I go, honey, you got a piece of paper anywhere near you? I said, write this down. And I told him the phone number and the name of the company. He goes, where did that come from? I said, I don't know. It just came out of the blue. So that's just, I wanted to share that with you guys because that's an example of how our team sends us what we need when we need it. It doesn't take effort, like Erica said. When you say, I want to do this, or I'm interested in that, I need more information, or I don't know how I would do it, give me some guidance, the messages come. You just have to trust that that's how it works.
Yeah, just ask. And one more thing to add. If you guys are in not happy relationship or not happy dating, you can always tell your guide and higher self, send me better than this guy. You know, that's clear message enough to let them know what you're looking for. Okay, because they're watching every single part of your life, believe it or not.
True.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, and this one I'm gonna see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.